Hello everyone and welcome to our Game Week 24 preview show. I'm Chris and with me is the other half of the FPL Cougars team, Kieran. How are you doing today?
All good, thank you. How are you?
Very good. Yeah, I'm really good. Right, so today we're going to be rounding up the latest news from the Premier League teams that took part in the fourth round of the FA Cup. We'll also begin to turn our heads to how Game Weeks 31 and 33 are looking after Saturday's results and what blanks we can expect. We'll also be discussing our transfer plans, captaincies, we'll be previewing all the fixtures, talking about the clean sheets, and we're also going to be talking about the prospects of a certain South Korean who is set to return to the Premier League action sooner than anticipated. So I think to begin all our preview show this week, Kieran, I think we can touch on the FA Cup. So what did you think of the game on Friday night, the all Premier League encounter between Manchester United and Arsenal?
Fun game for us as United fans, wasn't it? 8 wins on a bounce. Ollie continuing to prove he's not a flash in the pan, I suppose. Might be worth a permanent job at the end of the season. Great game altogether. Great counter-attacking from United, and even Sanchez and Lukaku looked good, surprisingly. Lukaku with 2 really nice assists. Sanchez and Lingard with good finishes, and a nice break on for the third one as well. Arsenal looked okay too, but I guess they'll probably be a bit deflated after that one. They probably would have wanted to go through maybe a nice chance of silverware. Obviously their history in the FA Cup this season, or other seasons as well. Their last chance of silverware is probably the Europa League, and maybe they won't get top 4, I don't know. Maybe they need to win the Europa League to get into Champions League now. But yeah, great game all round. And yeah, Rashford, Martial on the bench. I felt like when they came on, that the United, what we've been used to seeing now, kind of came alive again. Like they weren't so quick and fast-paced and forward-thinking with Sanchez and Lukaku, but they seemed to come on and reinvigorate and look great. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it was a really enjoyable game. I thought it was good to see Rashford and Martial benched. I think that sort of reaffirms their place in the starting 11. Yeah, and just good performance by United and what we've come to expect in the big games against Tottenham and Arsenal now, and I expect they'll play that way in the Champions League against PSG. On the Arsenal side of things, it felt quite bad for both Koscielny and Socrates, both their sort of key central defenders picking up injuries and look like they're going to be out at least for this game week, I would have thought. Looks like Socrates maybe had a knee problem, maybe twisted it, and Koscielny took that whack in the jaw, so that sort of leaves Arsenal's defence even more vulnerable than it already was. So a bit of a worry for them, even despite these good fixtures coming up. In terms of the other Premier League sort of encounters that there were, Watford against Newcastle. Watford secured an away win, and my main man, Isaac Success, scoring. Kieran, he's coming back. He's coming back.
Yep,
it's the revival.
I wish I went for him instead of Kamara. Really, frustrating. But yeah, I couldn't really see Success getting back into it, really, so unexpected, I suppose. But maybe he'll get more minutes, but we can't really tell from one goal in the FA Cup. But he looks like he at least gets some, doesn't he? So, whereas Kamara's had that bust up again. He's been arrested or something, wasn't he? With like a training ground scuffle or something. So, bit of a oversight getting him now. He's probably going to be a problem going forward with blanks and kind of bench needing to cover and stuff like that. So, yeah, difficult.
Yeah, it's a really strange one with all the fighting, but I'm not sure how it's going to pan out, but it's definitely going to be one to address for your team, because I can't imagine Fulham are going to be keen to play him anytime soon after all that.
Yep.
Everton were the big surprise, weren't they, on Saturday night, getting knocked out against Millwall, and it was almost a full-strength team, I thought. Maybe a couple of changes here and there, but I think it was a pretty much their first 11. What did you think about that, really, because you've got Richarlison and Dean in your team, and it's poor from Everton at the moment, really poor form.
Just classic Everton. What they're showing in the Premier League, they showed in this game as well. Just nothing, basically. With Richarlison get a goal, but I thought he was pretty lucky. He didn't do anything else other than that. No. So Richarlison is firmly on the chopping block. I think I looked at his past fixtures or past points over the last 7 weeks, and he scored 20 points, which is 5 blanks and 2 assists. So, that's absolutely awful for someone who's had great fixtures as well. And I don't know, those 2 assists in a row, I think maybe 4 weeks ago now, kind of gave me hope to continue bringing him in or leave him in. And he's had some okay chances, he's been a little bit unlucky, goals cleared off the line and things. but yeah, his time in his team is probably short now. I think he might go out this weekend. I'm not really sure. It seems like maybe not a luxury transfer, but I don't know. Is he going to start? Like Everton look a little bit in crisis with Silva just not doing great. Maybe he's going to be fired soon. To be honest, like it's not far off. Like they're just not doing well at all. And Richarlison is back to his kind of fluffing chances and not performing in the second half of the season. And their defence as well, just shocking. Like 3 goals to Millwall. Like come on, come on Everton, sort it out. Like I can't even see a clean sheet against Huddersfield. Like that's how crap Everton defensively are at the moment.
Yeah, they've totally fallen off the sort of form table. I had a look at their form since. Remember that good game they played away at Anfield against Liverpool, and Pickford fluffed it up in the final minute and they ended up losing. I think they've only won 3 in 12 games in all competitions since that game. So I mean that is really poor form, and it sort of harks back a little bit to how Silva performed at Hull and Hull and the season before last, and then Watford last season. And he had those great starts, and everyone was like, "Oh wow, who's this new sort of contemporary manager? Great philosophy, great ideas." But now he just seems to have lost his way again, like he did at those clubs. And it's almost the same as Richarlison, because he had a great start, didn't he? Last season, his form just nosedived, and those two things seem to be happening again. So it's a bit of a worry for Everton fans and also Richarlison owners, really. So one to keep an eye on, but perhaps we'll talk more about that Huddersfield game a bit later and what your plans are with him.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
On the City side of things, I think we've got to mention De Bruyne coming back and scoring. He was rolled out in the midweek game, wasn't he, against Burton? And I think he played the full 90 against Burnley, and he looked good, I thought. And saw the highlights and got a good goal. And I think he's coming back in to add even more competition to that City midfield again. I think their team's sort of getting back up to full strength ahead of this title running.
Yeah, I think he seems like he's back to full fitness now, right? If he played most of the game against Burton, I think it's like 60, 70 minutes or something. And played 90 against Burnley, as you say, and looked great and did well in the Burton game too, even though it was only a 1-0. But yeah, he's definitely going to be an option going forward. Maybe not in the next 3 with the blank coming up for the final, but after that, don't see why not.
No, we did have a question actually from Fantasy Football Focus, who asked whether De Bruyne at just 4% ownership would be a good differential captain. But I would sort of advise against that. I mean, even getting him in at this stage, because I do think it's unusual that he played the 90 minutes against Burnley and, like you say, nearly 70 odd against Burton, because he'd then end up playing 3 games in a week, which for someone that's just coming back from injury seems quite a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's benched against Newcastle with a view to him playing more of a main part in those Arsenal and Chelsea games.
Yeah, can see that.
So yeah,
that's what I said. Like maybe not bring him in now, but after after the blank in 27 something, he could be a good option. Yeah.
So the final main upset from the Saturday's games was that West Ham performance, and it was a lot of rested and a lot of rotation, but still to get beaten by League One side Wimbledon is just a bit of a shock, really. Yeah,
big shock. There's just not a good feeling at West Ham at the moment with the Arnie gate fiasco, transfer scandal and everything, and him coming out now and just saying there's a contract extension. He always felt he wanted to stay here and stuff like that.
Strange, isn't it?
It's very strange. And then they're conceding 4 to Wimbledon. It's just, bizarre, really. You think, I think their squad was fairly first choice. There wasn't that many that were benched, like Anderson, Rice, and stuff like that. Yeah. But other than that, like, it was mostly first choice. Fabianski wasn't there. Maybe he would have saved some others that Adrian didn't. But it's not looking great for them, and I wouldn't advise getting any of the players. Maybe Arnie, when he comes back in for the midweek fixtures, I imagine he will do, because Carroll has been absolutely awful as well. Since he's had to play. So I imagine he'll come in. Yeah. And I don't know if he can rejuvenate West Ham. Maybe he can, but it's not looking great there.
No, totally agree on that. So before we move on to our sort of fixture by fixture preview, look, we're just going to wrap up which teams are not going to have any blanks in game weeks 31 or 33, and that so far,
or 27.
Or 27, yes. Liverpool, Bournemouth, Leicester, Burnley, and Huddersfield. So we know that Man City and Chelsea have those blanks in 27, and the teams they're playing are Everton and Brighton, I think. Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
So, yeah. So we're going to do more of a special episode on the blanks and the doubles that sort of teams can be expecting as they get closer to the time. Because at the moment, it just feels like it's a bit too far off in the future to start planning our teams that much. Even that 27, those blanks for those 4 teams is a little bit far away for me personally, because you just think you don't want to be affecting your transfers now because some of those players have good fixtures in the meantime. So, yeah, I think maybe in 1 or 2 weeks we'll come out of a preview show and discuss that in more detail.
Yep.
Cool, right, so to start the preview show, really, Arsenal-Cardiff is the first game on Tuesday evening that we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see this one going? Because Cardiff have had a rotten run of form recently, but they've had the rest, no FA Cup, whereas Arsenal, like I said a minute ago, lost their 2 key central defenders. And I don't know, it seems like on paper it should be an easy Arsenal win, but I'm a little bit unsure now with just a few injuries and players out of form.
I don't know, I guess Aubameyang is the one I was wondering about bringing him in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, is he essential? Maybe not. Cardiff at home, like Arsenal are way better at home, score more points than Aubameyang scores way more goals and is more influential on games at home. And Cardiff in a poor run of form seems perfect, right?
Mm.
But I don't know. What do you think about Aubameyang? Is he essential for this game?
I think
if you don't have him, it's scary, right?
Yeah, I think he's a good pick for this game, but I'm still not totally sure about his price, and he's top of the top of the forwards, and his form's been good in his last couple of home games, or his last 5 home games, I think. 5 goals, 3 assists, and he's played 450 of the 450 minutes, so he's going to be nailed on to start.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. The performance in the cup game worried me a little bit because they sort of switched back to that 4-3-3, and Aubameyang played wide right in the first half and almost played wide left in the second half, and he was dropping so deep to recover the ball. Obviously, that's part of Emery's defensive work for him, but I don't know. It's a really strange one. If I had him, I'd be really tempted to captain him given the form, but I can't imagine myself bringing him in. It's a strange one with him. Really strange.
I left money in the bank from Kane to bring him in for this game, but form lately has been off, hasn't it? And he only really had that one chance against United in the FA Cup, and it was just a tap in. And other than that, I think he had 2 shots, 1 goal, 1 blocked, and he had 2 chances created. So it's not fantastic, is it? It's not.
No.
It's not ideal form coming up with this Cardiff game that you probably want to. You could even think about triple captain if that's the sort of fixture that maybe you're not going to on this form, but in just on paper, that's a great fixture for someone to triple captain.
Exactly.
But
you play the fixture rather than the form on this one.
Well, I guess from before the season you would. Like before you've seen any form or anything like that, but now you're not confident of even doing anything with him. But then after that City game, they're not blanking at all this season. They're not blanking at 27.
No,
and they've got 3 great fixtures after City as well. So you bring him in, he's probably going to get points over the next 4, 5 anyway, right?
Yeah. Oh, I would have thought so.
Yeah. So. I don't know, basically. There's other things that have happened with Son coming back, which has made me less interested, I guess.
I think he's still the main focal point of the Arsenal attack, though, because Lacazette's only played 90 minutes once in the last 10. I mean, he's picking up a little bit of form in the league in that he's got 2 goals in his last 3. And he's also a home sort of guy in the fact that he scored of his last 8 goals, 6 of them have been at home. So I think it's 3 home games in the next 5 they've got coming up.
Yep.
I think there's going to be great competition between those two in terms of Lacazette likely to play and likely to be involved in the goals. So that's what sort of draws back on the Aubameyang appeal for me.
Yeah, another one I was looking at before this FA Cup was Kolasinac. I hadn't really actually been considering him, but I thought, they've got okay fixtures after the City game, and he's been very attacking. He was very attacking again against United, but after the Socrates and Koscielny injuries, I'm just like, no. Their defence is now Mustafi and probably Xhaka at centre back. That's a worry, and Maitland-Niles as well. So it's like 3 not for first choice, maybe Monreal play, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not enticing me to go for Kolasinac at all now. But he did look good before that.
Yeah. It's funny, I had written down in my notes that maybe those 2 out is going to actually improve their defence because they've only had 2 clean sheets in the last 16. So maybe Xhaka and...
God.
Maybe Xhaka and... Sorry, I'm totally... Mustafi is the centre-back partnership they've been crying out for, Kieran, all season.
Maybe.
But I doubt it. I can see Cardiff scoring in this game. They've not scored in the last 3, but I can see someone like Nias or Patterson doing work against either of those 2. Sort of... I'd almost say, Xhaka makeshift centre-half. I was going to say Mustafi feels like a makeshift centre-half sometimes when you watch him play. He's just got errors in him, so I think I think Cardiff could nick something there, maybe a goal, but I don't see them winning.
Can you see it being like a 3-1, something like that? Is Aubameyang going to score more than 1? Do you think he'll just get 1?
I think it'd be quite a tight game, I think it'd be quite a tight game. Maybe I could see him, maybe a 2-1. I think I think if you've got him, he's a strong consideration of captaincy. But I mean, we'll talk about Salah a bit later. But I think he's by far and away the best option.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to touch on Etheridge really for Cardiff in goal. I've been having problems with budget keepers probably for the last 5 to 10 game weeks, and it's very frustrating. He's been quietly going about his business really, in that he's now only 7 points behind Alisson at the top of the goalkeeper rankings. Ownership is just ticked over 11%, I think it is, in the last game week or 2. So he's still fairly a differential.
Yeah.
And after Arsenal, they don't play a top 6 team until game week 32. So that's almost, it's nearly 7 or 8 games where they're playing teams in and around them where you expect him to rack up more save points and the chance of clean sheets increase. So he's certainly one I've been toying with the idea of replacing either Gaeta or Button with, really.
Yeah, seems good. Yeah, no problems with that.
Cool. All right. Fulham and Brighton, they play as well on Tuesday evening. Can you believe it? Now, I think the red-haired Danger Man is going to be a big asset for Fulham in these close of the season. And of course, I'm talking about Ryan Babel.
Yep.
Because I thought he played well against Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
3 shots, missed a big chance. He's only 5.5 million in FPL. And he's got pretty decent fixtures ahead of 4 of their next 5 against teams from outside the top 6. So, i.e., they're all games they can scrap and win. And what did you think of their performance against Spurs? I thought they played quite well, really. And him in particular.
They were okay. Babel had a few chances, didn't he? So, I don't see why he can't do too well here. They're at home. Brighton are considerably worse away. So,
they are.
He could do well. Mitrovic maybe, but Mitrovic has had okay fixtures and has done nothing for a long time now. But Babel seems like he could do something. And he might be the next mini bandwagon if he does anything in this game.
I'd like him to be an option because 5.5 seems like a tasty price at the moment. I think there's an opportunity with some of the defensive injuries and lack of clean sheets available. I think 5.5 fifth midfielder for Mr. Babel could be good. Can I blow your mind with a good stat here?
Go.
Thank you. Okay, so this game is generally a goal fest. It surprised me because looking at them, I wouldn't have thought so. But the last 6 games between these two have averaged over 2.5 goals. So I could expect Babel hat-trick? Lacadian hat-trick?
Maybe not, but...
Maybe not.
I don't know, can you see much goals from Brighton here? I can't really.
Well, to follow, I was surprised about that. So I had to look back over the previous meetings between these two, and granted, they go back a few seasons and different championships and whatnot, but Brighton have actually won their last 3 away games, and we know Fulham's defence hasn't been great this season. It's sort of had a mini upturn recently, but I could see Lacadia getting on the score sheet. I got my eye on him a little bit recently. 5.3 million striker. He's played in the last 4 or 5, I think. So
he's been sort of playing reverse out of position as well. He's been playing midfield. Yeah.
But he still picked up a few bits. But I think mainly it's the Brighton defence. I think a lot of people are been asking us about and want to talk about because they got Matt and Ryan due back. Australia went out against the United Arab Emirates in the Asian Cup, basically until game week 33, they don't play any of the top 6, I think that's right. And they only play 4 of the top 6 until the end of the season, so that's almost 14 game weeks. Yeah. 10 of 14 game weeks. They don't play any top 6 sides. So that's quite a great run to invest in their defence. Whether that's Ryan at 4-4 now, he's dropped quite a bit, and or Duffy at 4-6.
Yep.
Do you like either of those?
Yeah, I do, but I feel like if you want to go somewhere like that, for maybe get 0.2 more money for someone like Lindelof in a probably a better, like a more solid team and defence, I would guess. Maybe not in this season so far, but yeah, I don't know. Someone I'm considering with a downgrade for Alonso/Trippier, but I need to kind of watch them maybe a bit more. I've not really sort of watched their games for a while, so I need to eye test Duncan Duffy, I think.
Yeah, so do I. I tell you what I did eye test, though, is his goals and assists columns when I was having a look at this. So for a 4.6 million defender, he's got 4 goals and 2 assists this season, which is Duffy? The most... This is Duffy, yeah. At 4.6, so he's still under 5% owned, so a huge differential. That's the most goals of any defender this season. I think with those fixtures at that price, that's not a risk at all. I think that's
true.
A good move.
Yeah, with someone like Lindelof, he doesn't really get headed chances, does he?
So,
no.
Well, United,
that's a good point.
Yeah, United rely on their goals from different ways. They're more attacking. It's more likely that strikers are going to get goals from open play, whereas a team like Brighton, I wouldn't say don't create a ton from open play, but set pieces, they're super dangerous, which is part of the reason why he's done so well.
Yeah, Duffy. I had Duffy most of last season for quite a long time. So, yeah, I have good memories of him. So he might come back in, but it's just kind of, there's another 4 million at Southampton that's just come available as well. So there's prices and funds to be gained by going even lower than 4.5 at the moment. So yeah, that's
I get
something
that
to consider.
I get that.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add on that game?
Obviously mentioned Kamara, didn't I? But I'm not too sure what to do with him going forward. Like I said, with the blanks and doubles coming up, he's going to be an issue. I guess I'll probably keep him until, say, I wildcard before the doubles is my guess. So I can get a third bench, so that I can bench boost come the double game weeks. For the time being, he's probably going to have to sit and rot there. I imagine I'll put him behind Gunnarsson for next week.
We're going to say behind bars.
Yeah. But I think Gunnarsson didn't play last week either. It didn't get any minutes, so that's a slight worry as well. Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe going to a 5 in midfield and having no cheap midfielder. That might be some way to go. But yeah, that's my Kamara issues. If anyone's got any ideas of what to do with him, let me know.
Banish him. So Huddersfield against Everton, another Tuesday fixture. You've got huge interest in this game, as we talked about before, because you've got Dean and Richarlison, and Everton in that shocking form. Like I said, 3 wins in 12. Silva, the short-term manager. So what are your plans? What do you suggest for others? I mean, it's a great fixture. Again, it's the paper thing, but a great fixture on paper. And Huddersfield have conceded at least 2 goals in the last 3 home games.
Yes, but I thought Huddersfield looked fairly solid against City. I think not last week, but whenever they last played in the Premiership. But yeah, they were just blown away in small sections of that game, weren't they? And Richarlison is just so off form that I think Huddersfield can keep a clean sheet here. So they're at home. Yeah, I think Dina's staying for the time being. I think Richarlison probably, if you want to keep him and you've got other fires, then maybe that's fine. But I don't really have too many other fires, and Son has come back, and I fancy Son. So Son to Richarlison, who's got just as good fixtures. Yeah, that seems quite good to me. Richarlison is, like I said, 20 points in 7 weeks, 5 blanks in great fixtures, and yeah, his straw is too short now. I think he's probably out for me.
That's quite interesting. Okay, so taking him out ahead of the Huddersfield game.
Yeah, I don't know. Basically, it's come Monday night, I'll decide probably.
Well, I would say just that Huddersfield are on this rotten run as well. So they've lost 9 of their last 10 games, and like I said, conceded those average of 2 goals in their last 3.
Yeah.
But Richarlison is bang out of form. We saw he had 1 penalty box touch against Southampton. He had 1 penalty touch box against Millwall, so if anything, Kieran, he's being super consistent. Maybe Silva's just said, don't you dare go in the box, and he's doing it. But it just seems really unusual. He's just dropped right off a cliff. He's bang out of form, and to be honest, if Son is due to start against... They play Watford, don't they, at home? If he's due to start against Watford at home, and Poch comes out and says, yeah, baby, he's in, he's coming back, then I think it's almost a no-brainer there.
Yeah, there's just... Dina, I think I'll probably keep for the next 3. Mm-hmm. But he's been very inconsistent as well, and they're conceding 3. Their back four was pretty much first choice in that Millwall game. So if they're conceding 3 to them, I wouldn't be confident of many clean sheets. Pickford has been terrible as well, like I keep saying. But funnily enough, I think Everton could keep a clean sheet this week. I think it might be a 0-0. So, yeah. 0-0. That's my...
A 0-0? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll hold you to that. So that's going to be one of your clean sheet picks. We're going to talk about them a bit later. But you're saying Huddersfield and Everton both clean sheets. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, one game I don't think there's going to be a clean sheet in, Kieran, is Wolves against West Ham.
Yeah.
Another Tuesday fixture, because Wolves have conceded at least 2 goals in their last 3 home games. They obviously conceded 3 in that epic 4-3 thriller against Leicester last week. I could see goals in this one. I can see lots of goals in this one.
Yeah, they conceded 2 to Shrewsbury Town as well.
They did, yeah.
Yeah. That was even with their pretty much first choice back four as well. Doherty came back in, didn't he? Got a goal again.
He did.
Which owners on Twitter are a bit annoyed about because they want to see him do it in the Premier League. But there's rumours that he's not first choice now, and that because he played this game, he's not first choice. But I don't know. I can't really see that. What do you think about him? Do you think he's first choice?
It did worry me a little bit. So I had a look to see which of the Wolves players started in this game are usually first choice. So it was Neves, Bennett, and Cody usually start in the Premier League. And obviously Doherty started as well, but he was dropped last game. So I would say that 4 of the 11 are first teamers, and they all played 90 minutes as well. It's a difficult one to read, because you would have thought, why did he rest him in the previous home game against Leicester just to play full in this one? But maybe he's thinking he's had a week's... The other flip side of that is he's had a week's rest, and Nuno's thinking, right, I'll get him some minutes again and he'll be fresh, ready to go on midweek. So perhaps he's just put him back in to get him back up to match sharpness.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He's their talisman, right? Like, well, maybe not fully, but he has been at least with scoring goals of defender-wise.
Well, it's a last-minute equaliser, isn't it, in the Cup?
Yeah.
To make sure
he's done that loads of times as well this season. I was looking to bring him in as part of a possible hit, or with Alonso coming out, or Jimenez coming out for Aubameyang, something like that. Yep. And Jimenez, with Jimenez out, Doherty would come in to sort of cover the attacking, I guess. But also Jota, he didn't play and wasn't even in the squad. Do you think that's just rest because of his recent injuries? Yeah, maybe didn't think they needed him.
It was a surprise, really, because I thought even that's the sort of player you at least take to bring on your bench if they're fit, just because he's in such good form. If they're in trouble, he'd be sort of the man you call on. So that was a bit of a surprise, really. And I haven't heard anything from Nuno to say he's out, which is a bit of a worry because he's been playing so well recently, hasn't he? And obviously got those 19 points last time out, and he's in his last 5. I think he's averaged nearly 8.5 points per game, mainly thanks to those 19 points. And he's such a differential. I think he's still owned by less than 5%. So I think a lot of people will rush to get him in after the last game week and that hat-trick, which you can imagine people doing. Casuals love points. And they don't tend to think too much about the games coming up. So the fact that he missed this one is a bit of I'd say a yellow flag, a warning one.
I mean, he's in form, so I mean, I like points too. So I've been interested in him. So you can't deny a player who's on form getting them in when they've got good fixtures, really, can you? He's on my radar as a possible Richarlison change, maybe to come in for Gunnarsson if I go that 5. Bring Son in for Richarlison, get Gunnarsson, get Jota in for Gunnarsson. Might be a way to go, and decent differential, as you say. So. But he didn't play, he wasn't in the squad. Yeah, a risk, I guess. Son is a risk as well, I suppose. I suppose press conferences before the games. I need to find out more, really.
Yeah. Let me just clarify by saying casuals on that, because like you, I like points as well. But the fact that the game was last Saturday when Jota did well, and they would have had a game a week later, but the next Premier League game wasn't for like 10 days. Unless you can't afford a 5.9 million midfielder, or he probably gone up to 6 by now, then I just don't rush a transfer like that, because like you say, we've got more questions than answers now a week later. And it could be a waste of transfer, like people experienced last week with Trent.
Yeah,
like a lot of people got rid of him and got Shaw in, and obviously neither of them ended up playing anyway. One of those things.
Maybe we'll hear something on Monday, I guess.
Maybe we might do, yeah. So we haven't really spoken about West Ham. So obviously had that shocker in the cup last night. Arnie signed that contract. You expect him to start again now?
I think so, yeah. Carroll's been that awful, hasn't he? He's missed sitters and missed like skewed shots like over the top of the stadium in like open goal situations and things.
Yeah.
I think he has to come in. That he'll want to prove himself, get back to form. Another thing we've seen is Lanzini's back in training, so he's probably close to a return as well. So I remember last season Lanzini and Arnautovic going crazy for a few games, and anyone that managed to bring them in at the same time got big points. So I think Arnie will play, and can see him getting goals here. Like, I can't see a clean sheet for Wolves, that's for sure.
No, and neither can I. Just the defence has been so poor recently. The start of the season they were great, and recently they just ship goals for fun. So Doherty is really only in my team for those attacking returns at the moment. Otherwise he'd be long gone. Like you, I think that West Ham need a reaction here. Pellegrini came out and said he was ashamed with them, didn't he, at half time or something like that, which is big. I'm loving these managers coming out and saying some big things, like Sarri last week, Pellegrini dropping the A-bomb on them, and I just think it's a good fixture for them to bounce back in. So I think Arnie's obviously going to start. Anderson will come back into the team, and I would imagine Rice comes in. I can see the performance being a lot better. So yeah, fascinating game this one. I could probably see a West Ham away win as well. I just feel like Anderson on the counter attack there. I could see them doing some damage. Yeah,
what do you think about him and his chances? He came on and scored in that game.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll do anything here?
Well, like I said on the review show last week, a 4-3 win at home and only that single assist. He's scored 6 goals this season, and only 3 have been against teams outside the top 6. I want a flat track bully.
But he scored against Shrewsbury. Come on.
He scored against Shrewsbury, yeah, but that's the FA Cup. We're talking Premier League games almost a bit like Callum Wilson. Callum Wilson's nearly gone down to that price now. If I got Jimenez in my team, I need to know that he's like a flat track bully for these games against teams like West Ham and Watford and Leicester, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I've thought about taking him out, because I just don't think he's consistent enough, really.
Yeah.
Or the fixtures where he should be returning more, and I think whoever I'm going to bring in would probably do better. Say like Aubameyang or something.
You don't get him in for games like Tottenham at home or Tottenham away or Arsenal away, where I think he's scored his 3 goals.
Yep.
You get them in to score 5 against Huddersfield or 3 against West Ham. Anyway,
yep.
Mini rant over about Jimenez, because I do like him. I do like him, and he's a great source of points in that Wolves attack. But anyway, need more points there. Anything else you want to add before we move swiftly on?
No, I think that was it for them.
That was it for them?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I had anything else written down either. Okay, so let's move swiftly on to Manchester United against Burnley. Another Tuesday evening game. United going for the 9th win in a row in all competitions. Can you imagine that when Ollie took over the week before December, Kieran? We could be sat here saying that.
No, let's just say that. But I think it's going to happen. Burnley losing 5-0 to City in the FA Cup.
Yep.
Yeah, I think a 9 win on the bounce is inevitable here, right? I can't see any returns for Burnley. I think it's a clean sheet for United. I think it's goals for United. Pogba, Rashford looking good. Just a 3-4-0 United win, something like that.
3-4-0. Well, you're right about in terms of the number of goals. So the United have now scored over 2.5 goals in their last 5 home games, which is pretty damn impressive. So they're rocking teams at home. And like you say, Rashford and Pogba have benefited the most from Ollie. It was the first time last game week that Rashford had scored in 4 consecutive Premier League games. And I have a good feeling that he'll make it 5 on Tuesday. I think he He's got the capacity to do that. He's had the rest. He's going to be fit and firing, and the Pogba as well. I think 7 and 10 goal involvements for them respectively. That's 10 for Pogba since Ollie took over.
Yep.
I think it's really good. And probably just go back a little bit to what to my first transfer when Ollie came back in was Martial, and I'm pleased I've moved on now because I was having a look at the stats. So like I say, Rashford's 7 goal involvements, Pogba 10, Martial's only had 2. So although it seemed a bit sideways last week to move Martial onto Pogba in terms of positional sense in my FPL team, I think point sense is Pogba just looks far and away the better pick, doesn't he?
Yep, and this one is prime for them to go crazy, isn't it? Burnley in poor form, and I think there's points here to be had. But everyone has Pogba and Rashford now, so
they do.
I think the beneficiary from this game is probably going to be Shaw/Lindelof if they get that clean sheet. Then you'll get decent differential points.
Yeah, I had a look historically back at Burnley against United, and they've now failed to score in 6 of their last 8 games against them. And I think it's one of United's only 3 or 4 clean sheets this season was the reverse fixture at Turf Moor.
Yep.
So, but Burnley rotated against City, so they'll be up for this game. They would have had pretty much a week's rest, whereas United played obviously the Friday night.
Yeah, and United will be confident after that Arsenal game as well.
Yeah.
Like FA Cup, big fourth round game away at Emirates, winning 3-1, 3 counter-attack goals. Yeah, they'll be buzzing, won't they?
Yeah. Is there any consideration for you to even a little inkling to think Pogba captain in this one?
No.
No. But he's a good option.
Yeah, well, that's why he's vice. So if Salah doesn't play for whatever reason, then Pogba will be the captain. But he's not captain material yet. Over Salah at least.
No, at least over Salah. And Salah's got such great fixtures in a minute as well. So it's a shame because I think he's going to be a nice differential sometime. But Salah's the main man. I just wanted to touch another of my goalkeeper frustrations and conundrums led me to Heaton. So he was rested in that FA Cup game Nick Pope played. So Joe Hart's just way gone now. Joe Hart's not in the picture right now. So I quite like Heaton as a fantasy pick. So he's got 2 clean sheets in the 4 games since he's been back in the team. In which time, in those games, he scored 9 and 8 points respectively. With bonus, both times he's kept a clean sheet. So we know from previous seasons with Nick Pope and Tom Heaton that Burnley are notoriously good at allowing their opponents shots, of which most of them are savable. So Heaton and Pope have racked up those save points in the past. Burnley have decent-ish fixtures, but I think with a team like Burnley, they can rack up save points and the odd bonus against any team in the league. So, yeah, Heaton is definitely one I've got my eye on. I think he's about 4.8 though, maybe even 5. So he's a bit of a pricier option.
Yeah, I think that average call is probably better or something like that. But just because Burnley keep barely any clean sheets today, and but something to look at.
Something to look at. Okay. All right. Well, moving swiftly on then, we've got the other side of Manchester in action away at St James's Park on Tuesday, Man City. You've got Sterling. Are you excited about watching him putting some Gonzalo's in at St James's Park?
Yeah.
It's not called St James's Park, is it, anymore? Is it called the Sports Direct Arena? Have I got that wrong?
I think the fans probably keep calling it St James's, but yeah, I think it's Sports Direct.
Oh, I can't keep up.
Sterling, hopefully he's been rested in the EFL and the FA Cup, and as well as Sane, so nailed on for the next few games, I'd say, at least. Coming up to that blank in 27, I think he'll probably start the next 3, is it, that we've got? I think he's been slightly unlucky in the last few weeks to not haul, and I think a haul is coming for sure. Happy to have him for the time being. Obviously Sane, as you've got some stats in a minute, has proved a little bit more value, but I did have Sane and Sterling, so hindsight I got rid of the wrong one, but Sterling has still got me points, and he's a decent differential, under 10% ownership still, so not under, I think he might be just over, but yeah, it's good for a haul, hopefully.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a tricky game for Newcastle, as you'd expect. So City have undefeated in their last 30 of 33 away games, and Newcastle on a rotten run as well at the moment. They've only won 2 in their last 10 in all competitions. So it's going to be difficult. But what I've been most impressed with City recently, and I think probably since that Leicester game on Boxing Day, is their defence. So they've got back-to-back clean sheets in the league now. Granted, it was against Huddersfield and Wolves, but that's 6 in all competitions now. And someone who not many people I've seen speaking about is Danilo at 5.1 million. He's started, I think he's played the last 5 in the league, so I think he's almost looking quite nailed on now, because I think Walker, didn't he play in the FA Cup against Burnley? I'm pretty sure he did. So Danilo's coming in a little bit of an option in that City defence, and I think they've got some trickier games in that home game against Arsenal and Chelsea to come. But yeah, I spied Danilo earlier and I thought, okay.
Yeah, I think he's a transfer out waiting to happen as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, though.
As soon as Mendy comes back, I think Walker's opposite sides, or even though Danilo can play both sides. Yeah, I think Walker will probably play the next couple. I would assume. Yeah, I think so.
I just think Walker's been so poor, man.
Just because there's no option on the left side for them, because Danilo and Walker will play, is my thoughts. But yeah, 5.1. He's probably how low owned is he? Did you check?
He was less than like 5%. I'm sure, because I thought, differential.
I mean, yeah, he's definitely worth it for this weekend, but that's just a transfer waiting to happen. To say like Arsenal and Chelsea after that, and then a blank. It's difficult to advise to go to him, but yeah.
But it was more the fact that their defence has improved, and he's been in it, which caught my eye. And of course, he got 15 points, didn't he, out against Huddersfield?
But their defence has only improved against bad teams, right?
Well, Newcastle are a bad team, Kieran.
Oh well, yeah, I know. But after that, like, can you bring one Danilo in for one fixture?
But who do they play next? They play Arsenal next, don't they?
Yeah, after that, yeah.
Arsenal's defence is pretty bad.
Well, yeah, but will they? Arsenal can score against City, probably, right?
Well, maybe. I feel like City are going to turn it on right now.
Now, I'm thinking about if Mendy's back to fitness
after
their blank, then he'll definitely come in for me. If not, then Laporte will come in. So yeah, I definitely want to get back on them. Shame I have left, really, because I think it was maybe a week after I got rid of Edison, they started getting clean sheets again. Yeah. So it's just frustrating.
Well, I did some research, full Ben Dinnery style, on Mendy to find out what had happened to him. And apparently, Kieran, he's got some swelling in his knee, which he picked up after... Oh, you know that.
Yep, I do. Sorry.
So Sane seems safe for now, and Mendy we're going to have to wait a few more game weeks for. Is there anything you want to say about Newcastle? Because I've not got a lot written down.
No, to be honest.
I'll tell you what I have got written down. One fun fact. You know Shah scored 2 goals last game week? 13,000 people have transferred at him now. I mean, good luck to you guys. Really good luck, because I don't think he's going to be getting many clean sheets coming up or any more goals.
No. Not for me.
No. I think, you mentioned a minute ago I had some Sane and Sterling stats.
Yes.
I don't want to whet people's appetites with that and not give it out, but I'm probably going to do that at the end of the show when we do our captaincy and transfers, because that's the big dilemma for me this week.
All right. Fair play.
Have you got anything else you want to add about City? Or?
I don't know. Jesus, maybe? Do you think he's in the form of his life, I guess, at the moment? Just scoring whenever he plays.
Yeah.
You think he's a risk to Aguero's minutes? I guess Aguero only played a little bit on the FA Cup, so I guess Aguero probably starts against Newcastle. But Jesus will probably start getting minutes. He'll probably come on for Aguero in that game. Will he get starts against Arsenal or something like that? I don't know. What do you think?
I think he's going to be another bench option for City going forward, and I think he'll probably see more minutes now than he did at the start of this season. I think Aguero's away form has been not great, is it?
Yeah.
Poor all season. So I think there's more chance now that Jesus. I got called out tonight for the pronunciation. Sorry, I didn't want to say a minute ago, Kieran, but Jesus rather than Jesus. Yeah, I just think he's going to provide more competition for Aguero going forward now, just because he's just proved his worth in the last couple of game weeks with Aguero, or games with Aguero out. He stepped up, so I think Pep will realise that, and there'll be more opportunities for him. But I wouldn't advise bringing him in just because there's better options in the City team.
And there's so many options in that midfield as well. There's Silva's fit, like KDB's fit, Bernardo's fit. There's Gundogan, Fernandinho, Sane, Sterling. There's just crazy amounts of depth in that squad, and they're probably all going to rotate, other than maybe Sane and Sterling, who've had their rest now, and they're good to go, I suppose. But yeah, that'll do. Let's move on.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll move on to Wednesday. So that's all of Tuesday's fixtures done. Yeah. Bournemouth-Chelsea is the first game we're going to talk about on the Wednesday. And firstly, I want to know who is transferring out Wilson still, because he's had another price drop. I can't keep up with it. So he's in my team. There isn't anything conclusive that says he's definitely out of this game. He picked up a small knee injury in the last game. He's had that damned orange flag for the past 10 days. So I think that's making people get itchy feet, and he's seen a lot of transfers out. But he scored back-to-back goals in his last 2 starts, and he's up there near I think he's the 3rd highest scoring striker overall standings recently. And like I say, he's in good form. When he's playing recently, he's scoring. And Chelsea haven't been keeping a ton of clean sheets recently. So if he plays, I could see him getting on the score sheet in this one. I really think they've got a good chance of scoring. They've scored 2 goals, at least 2 in the last 3 home games. Okay, so there's my backup. What do you think?
It's an intriguing fixture, this one. There's just so many talking points. I think Wilson could do something. I not necessarily don't think there's going to be a clean sheet, but then for Chelsea. But then at the same time, they're so kind of random at the moment with their clean sheets. I think there could be a clean sheet too. Maybe like Fraser and so like Brooks and all those sort of people, maybe don't bring them in for this week because it's obviously a tough fixture. But yeah, Wilson owners I think should be fairly happy and fairly confident because he's had flags before and played. So you should be okay for that. Obviously, Higuain has signed for Chelsea on the loan, and I imagine he starts in this game. And Chelsea looked great in that EFL semi-final against Tottenham. Hazard looked back to his old self, on the left. Giroud up top, which will obviously be replaced by Higuain. And we've seen pictures of Higuain in training, looking confident and slotting in some goals, but obviously that's training.
Yeah. I love that video. Was that Higuain one? And they just posted some videos of him scoring against the goalkeeper. Yeah, love that.
Just to put it out there and scare some teams.
Can you imagine if Liverpool posted like a training video of Salah scoring like 5 goals and trailing against Mignolet or something? Everyone lose their shit. Like, oh my god, gotta get him in.
But anyway, I think that 9.5 for Higuain is tempting, honestly, isn't it? Like, yes, he's Premier League unproven, but I think there's a hook, and it will tempt people in, and maybe this is the time where like you want to get on him before everyone else does, because Hazard's looked great and he's probably going to feed him goals. Alonso, if he continues to play, has got someone to cross to. So I think Chelsea will look good going forward, but they have that blank in 27, which is obviously a problem if you're thinking about bringing anyone in. Yeah, no,
agree. Like you said, there's so much to talk about with this game, and I think Higuain was one of the main points. And we did have the question from Hustlin' Hulk, who said, "What do we think?" But I think you've given pretty much a well-rounded thought on Higuain there, and I think he's a good option at 9.5. I'm always a little bit reluctant to bring in a player who's new to the league in their first game, because I just need to see how they adapt. Even though it looks like a tasty fixture up against Bournemouth, I'd reserve judgment for at least 1 or 2 game weeks just to see what you're going to be getting from him.
I think at the same time, it's not the worst. You can, if you were ever going to just like put someone in straight away, I think Higuain at 9.5 against Bournemouth would be one to go for when they've looked so good against Spurs the game before. And he's just going to fit straight into how they want to be playing to, unleash Hazard again, to run at teams. I think he's going to be slotting in a few goals, and it's if you're ever going to do it, I think it could be now.
And they have Huddersfield next, don't they, at home?
Yeah, exactly.
You make an interesting case for him, and you've made me question my Hazard. But I'm okay.
Yeah, I was even thinking. I put out on Twitter like I've been thinking of bringing Hazard in, because I think people are jumping off him because they're going to blank, but I think they're going to go on a run, right? Like, he's looked so good. Their next 2 are great. Then they got City, but I don't see why they can't score against City.
Well, they beat them, didn't they, in December?
Yeah.
So they've got the form there. Hazard, like you say, he's exciting me again. After that goal in midweek against Spurs, I know that he's got a notoriously good record against Bournemouth. So I actually looked it up to see what it is. So in the 7 starts against Bournemouth, he scored 7 goals and got 1 assist. So I mean that's crazy good record. I'm pleased that he's got that because he's been on the chopping block a little bit, but I have a feeling like you, now that Higuain's there, they've got that focal point. Hazard gave a really interesting interview, didn't he, to the Evening Standard after the game on against Tottenham, and he was bigging up Higuain. He said something like, "I really enjoy playing with a striker like Costa. I haven't really had that in Giroud or Morata because they play into midfield a little bit more. So I have a feeling like Hazard's excited about playing with him, and if Hazard's excited about playing with a striker, I'm excited about owning Hazard again."
Yeah, you just feel like he's probably going to give that extra 10% in a game, just because the new hype of a new player and the potential, I suppose, and then that can lead to explosive scores from Hazard. And we know he's streaky, and I feel like this is probably the time that he's going to get a streak of goals and assists and points.
No, looking forward to owning him a lot over these next 2 game weeks now that the Higuain transfer's been finalised. Mm-hmm. One player I'm not so sure about owning over these next 2 game weeks is Alonso because of that rest or drop. We're not sure, are we?
It had to be a drop, right? EFL semi-final. I mean, he played the first leg. Emerson had been playing the cups, but Alonso played the first leg of this, so it's not a drop. I mean, it is a drop. It doesn't seem like a rest for any reason because the rest of the team was pretty much first choice. So
it's really irritating. I'd want to. If we had 2 games where it was confirmed that he was benched, he'd be straight out of my team this week for someone like Duffy, so I could upgrade somewhere else. But the fact that we've only had 1 game to go on and it's in a different competition, so there's always an excuse or a reason that it could be a rest, and he's just fit for the league. It's such a strange one because he came onto the pitch, didn't he, at the end of the game, and he was running around like he wasn't injured. So it wasn't even like he picked up a small knock or anything, and we've not heard anything.
Well, they play Sheffield Wednesday today, don't they, in the FA Cup?
They do. Imagine it. Okay, picture this then. He starts the game with the rest of the Chelsea second team. What happens then for you?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I think it's depending on what I do elsewhere. He'd be the cash cow, obviously.
You'd milk him, would you?
Probably.
Blimey.
But other than that, then I want to kind of keep him because I think Sarri still likes him, right? And I think he could go on a run as well with Higuain back in the squad and Hazard down the left, and hopefully Hazard will pass to him. I so many people have jumped off. He's almost like a differential in the top 100k or whatever now, isn't he? So I don't know, honestly. I would like to keep him, and if he doesn't play, if he actually is dropped, Wan-Bissaka can come off the bench, and it's true. Not a bad fixture for that. And then if he is dropped, we can 100% know we can get rid of him, no problem. So maybe at the moment I'm leaning towards keeping him for this game.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense to me. Until we know for sure, I'm just gonna hang on for him, hang on to him. But I would be a little bit worried if he is playing today with a bunch of the second teamers. It's tricky. Yeah. It's a tricky one, really tricky one. I like Alonso, but and in previous seasons he's shown he's still the top scoring defender in the league, and top scoring defender in the league, and I've had him since almost the start of the season, maybe game week 2.
Yep.
And he's been great because you just know he's going to rack up points, and Chelsea get a lot of clean sheets as well. But the fact that if he's dropped or if he's going to see reduced minutes and Emerson's going to come in and play, then I'm sorry, he's going to have to go. It's too much money.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that if I get rid of him, I don't have any Chelsea cover at all. If I'm not bringing in Hazard or Higuain, then I've got nothing there. And like I said, I think they're going to go on a run. So that's a worry to me as well.
I think we just got to play the wait and see game, which is one of the worst games to play in the Fantasy Premier League because we like knowing things, don't we?
Yeah, the problem here is if he plays Sunday, then it's just like we have no idea. We just have to guess if he plays. Depend if he plays like a really good game against Sheffield Wednesday, then maybe he plays his way back into the team. We don't know, do we?
No.
So it's a 50-50 call, and people who have already got off, maybe that was a good decision, maybe not. Bournemouth away, we'll live. We'll see.
Yeah, we will. All right, so another game on the. Anything else you want to add about on Chelsea? I feel like we've covered them pretty well.
Yeah, I think we have. Yeah, all good.
I think we covered them. It's a bit difficult to preview the Chelsea game fully because, like you say, we're recording this Sunday early afternoon, and they haven't played their FA Cup game yet. So, for all we know, tomorrow Hazard could have an injury. Alonso could have a hat trick.
Absolutely.
And then we'd be up a paddle. Sorry, we'd be up a paddle? We'd be up a creek without a paddle, full of excrement. Okay, Southampton Crystal Palace on Wednesday night at 7:45. We did have a question, actually, about a Palace player from... Let me just double check here, Kieran. I don't like to get people's names wrong. FPL Putting Out Fires, which is something we're really used to. And he asked, is Ward-Prowse a cheap midfield option? I say yes.
Yeah, we kind of mentioned it in the last in the review, didn't we? Yeah, we both like him. Don't see why not at this point.
Yeah, no, I think he's looking like a really good replacement. Even last game, or last show, like you said, we even touted him as a replacement for Richarlison. So I think he's in his last game he'd had 3 shots, 1 big chance created, and he picked up 5 bonus in his last 2 Premier League games now, and that was 2 goals and 2. So I think he's really come into Hasenhüttl's first team lineup now. And he seems to be bombing forward from the midfield. He seems to be playing quite narrow, and maybe in like a midfield 2 or even sometimes 3. And yeah, he's having shots. Admittedly, his goal in the last game was from outside the box, so I don't really want him to be a Maddison version 2. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. On lots of set pieces and the odd great goal from outside the box. I think he's about 5'5".
I think he's less than that.
Is he?
Like 5'1", 5'1", something like that.
5. Oh, well, even better. But their fixtures are great, and this would be a good time to get on him because they've got Palace, Cardiff, and Fulham at home in their next 5, and one of their away games is against Burnley. Mm-hmm. So it should be really good. Really good time to get on him.
They blank against Watford in 31, which is something to be aware of as well. But that is quite far away. So
yeah, you could have 6 enjoyable game weeks with Ward-Prowse until then.
Something to mention. Cedric is out on loan to Inter Milan now. So it means Valerie, I assume Valerie will be the 4.0 starter in that wing-back position. So along with Bednarak at 3.9, that's maybe Valerie is a better option because he's wing-back and he's probably going to get further forward. And he's just 0.1 more expensive, and that's super cheap, isn't it? Funds for days from downgrade from Alonso or something. They're providing some decent options at the back, I suppose, now. And they've got decent fixtures to possibly keep a few clean sheets. Huge differentials, basically.
Yeah, no, you're right. Those cheapies at the back there are really good. They're sticking out, really, aren't they? While players like Alonso and maybe even Trent are causing us worries at the moment. Yep. So, yeah, there's some really good options there. And with the fixtures now is a perfect time to get on them for those next 4 of the next 5 are looking really, really good.
Yeah, and even if you've got Wan-Bissaka as well, you can make Wan-Bissaka a 4 or a 3. You can play Wan-Bissaka over the next 6 or 7 game weeks because they've got great fixtures.
Easily, yeah.
So, yeah, there's another just probably nailed on really cheap person for your bench over the next few weeks.
Yeah. I think despite what we're saying about Southampton's defence, I've been impressed with Palace's away form recently, and we've been pretty poor at home. But in their last 4 away matches, they've scored at least 2 goals, which is pretty damn good. And obviously got 3 last time out against Liverpool. And I have a feeling like Milivojevic. Oh, look at that. That's pretty decent. Okay, Milivojevic he's coming back into maybe on the radar of my thinking as a Palace option. He's quite expensive, and he's 6'1", I think. But he's got 4 goal involvements in his last 7. And do you remember he had such a great end to the season last season?
Yeah,
I feel like he's one of those players that certain times of the year he really sort of kicks into gear, and now with these fixtures coming up for Palace, he's looking quite strong. So he's had 4 goal involvements in the last 7, like I said, and he's averaging 5.5 points per week in that time. I think he's looking like a sort of like the main man at Palace again now. I think he's taken that mantle off Zaha, and with those penalties in his locker and the odd goal from open play, I think, and free kicks in his locker as well. I think he's a good option there for Palace.
Yeah, I agree. I think Zaha looked quite good in the last few games as well. But apparently he's been a transfer or possible transfer speculation of him going to Dortmund. So there's been, I'm not sure if there's exactly been an offer, but Dortmund are willing to spend something like 40 million on Zaha. So I don't know if that's going to, cloud his thinking going into these games, but yeah, something to be aware of, I suppose, if you're thinking about Zaha.
Kieran, have you just seen the Fantasy Premier League Twitter app notification?
No.
That Man City, live breaking news right now, 2 p.m. on Sunday, that Man City and Everton have a double game week in game week 25.
That's actually happened. I didn't think that would.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that is interesting. So maybe keep hold of your Everton players for that double game week, or maybe don't because they're playing Man City.
Or maybe get another Man City.
Or get maybe another Man City player. Danilo. Oh, Kieran, look, Danilo's coming back in.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's discuss it at the end, I guess.
Okay, we'll try and retain our excitement until the end of the show. I was going to say about Zaha that I'd be surprised if Dortmund wanted him because he's had no goals since game week 5, and that was against Huddersfield.
Well, yeah, I know. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But
I don't know what's happened to him. I had such high hopes from coming into this season as a striker. He's got 5 assists in 20 game weeks, and that's his only output. I just feel like what's happened to him? He's fallen off a right cliff.
I have no idea, honestly.
He's at the bottom, and he's just looking for some way back up, but he's not getting it. All right. Any more to say on that one?
Obviously keepers, because you've obviously got Guaita, and they've just signed or loaned, I think he's called Lucas Perry or something. I don't know. I've no idea where he's from. I didn't even look. But yeah, I imagine he'll play because Speroni was absolutely naff against Liverpool, wasn't he?
Oh.
So, but he's not actually been added to the game yet. So that's I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. I guess they'll have to put him in before the game week deadline, right?
Yeah, they will. Well, they should do.
So he'll probably be a 4.5, I imagine.
He might be a 4.0. How much was Speroni? 3.9?
Yeah, 3.9, yeah.
Because he'll be a third. That makes me think then that Guaita's and Hennessy's injuries are at least a month or 2.
Yeah, probably. If they're signing a new keeper just like that, then
that is
probably.
Interesting. Maybe I should get rid of Guaita. Oh, some good. That's some good research, but some bad news. I used to like it the other way around.
Keepers, you don't want to make transfers, do you? Ever?
No,
really.
I feel like I'm doing it all the time.
Yeah.
The only one which will get me out of trouble with one transfer is transferring Guaita to Matt Ryan and just doing the double Brighton until the end of the season.
Yeah, so it's not the worst.
I might do that,
but you wouldn't have a keeper come 27.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's only one game. Yeah, it's not probably an issue.
I think it was it FPL Goat earlier who tweeted out about Lossell as an option at 4-4 for Huddersfield, and they got good. But I don't know if I can bring myself in with a keeper who's not getting many clean sheets. I like the odd clean sheet in Huddersfield. Can't even rely on them in a home game. So anyway, there you go. Shall we talk about Liverpool and Leicester? The one we've all been waiting for, Kieran, because who's your captain?
Salah, of course.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, you can't bet against him, can you? His points have just been mental lately. So, and Leicester are conceding for fun. At home, at Anfield, just no-brainer. Just why would you bet against him? As simple as that.
Well, exactly. He's been really clinical, isn't he? So he's now got 12 goal involvements in his last 8, and his points per game in that time is 11, so just constant captaincy in that time. I'd have seen you shoot right up the rankings.
Yeah, for sure.
He's played really well, and Liverpool have now scored at least 4 goals in their last 3 home games. So, and like you say, I wouldn't be surprised if they match that figure again against Leicester, because I thought Puel looked distraught, didn't he, after that Wolves game, and I just feel like there was arguing on the pitch at full time, and it just didn't bode well that's a squad in harmony at the moment. So if they concede a goal early in that game, I could really see a rout there.
Yeah, it's prime for Vardy to do well, because he's done well against Liverpool in the past, hasn't he, with counter-attack goals. But can I see that happening with the state that Leicester are in at the moment? Probably not.
No.
something to mention was VVD missed a training session last week. I'm not sure if he's done any more since. He probably has, but they've had that break, haven't they? Have no EFL Cup, no FA Cup, so I imagine he'll be fine. And I think Lovren, has come back into training, so I imagine he'll start instead of Matip. And then I gave you an image of what Alexander Arnold put on his Twitter or Instagram the other day, didn't I?
He did, yeah.
Of how he's had that knee brace on, and it looks like it might be 4 weeks in the end, instead of that one that was possible. So yeah, he looks like he's probably still going to be out for a while. And clean sheet, 3-4-0, 3-0 to Liverpool, I'd say.
Okay, well, you're going big then. Now, I'm just going to go over exactly what Klopp had said, because he seemed to contradict himself a little bit. So in the first instance, he said his knee ligament is much better. He said, in this moment it is stable, and about the pain, it will not be long. But is he ready for Leicester? I don't know. We will find out. But then, so that made me think he's not ready for Leicester at the game after. But he went on to say, then it's West Ham and then Bournemouth. After that, he'll be 100%. But until then, we will have to see. So that makes me think, that's totally contradictory, because it's much better. But then if it's much better, that's another 3 games. Really tricky one to read that. So maybe, especially now with this double game week news, maybe it's time to get a City defender in. But yeah, we'll talk more about that. So you don't see much for Leicester here then, and neither do I really.
No, not really. Nothing much. We've talked about Ricardo before. I think if you've got him, then great, but I can't expect too much from him here, unfortunately.
No. I think just quickly mention Firmino before we move on, because he's a striker in that very odd bracket of about 9 to 10 million, isn't he? And that he's doing well recently. So he's got 5 goals in his last 4, 7 touches in the penalty box last time out. I think he's sort of benefiting a little bit from playing behind Salah in almost what's a number 10 role again for him, which he played at his previous club. So he seems to be back in form a little bit, timely. Just to when Kane was injured, quite a few people have got him in their team. So I think he's almost like not a differential, but almost a different option in that Liverpool attack now.
Yeah, so, I like him going forward. He's proving that he's got some goals in him. So if you've got that budget for that area, then why not?
Cool. All right. So the last game of the game week we're going to chit chat about is at Wembley, and it's Spurs against Watford. You've got Trippier playing. How do you feel about this game, and which way do you see it going?
I'm not really sure about a scoreline, honestly.
Okay.
But Trippier wasn't in the squad at all for the EFL semi-final, which is a slight worry for me. I don't know, he'd probably want to play first choice there, right? And if he's not injured, I think he's usually first choice over Aurier. So slightly concerned about that. But I think he'll come in because obviously there was the injury to Davis. Aurier didn't look fantastic. And I can see him coming back in straight away. I think it's probably just rest because of that, consistent groin problem he's had. And he's played quite a few in a row. So I think it was just a bit of rest, and hopefully he comes in. I can see maybe a 1-0 Spurs, something like that. We'll foster quite a few saves, maybe. I don't really know. What do you think?
I think it's a tough one to call. I had a look to see how Watford have been performing recently, and they've actually not been doing too bad in their away games. So they've scored 2 goals in their last 4 away games in the league, which is pretty decent. I know they're obviously up against Spurs this time, and in that previous time it hadn't been any top 6 teams.
Yeah.
But I think that's looking good for them in an attacking sense, and especially with I wouldn't say a disappointing result against Chelsea, but surely it's a bit of a confidence knocker, because they've been going so well and they've done really well in that first leg. But to lose Ali, Kane, and Son, I'm sure they've just lost a little bit of momentum now. So I think it'll be a tight game, like you say. But Watford haven't kept many clean sheets recently either, so they've only kept 1 in 7. So I'd say a Spurs win, but like you, I think it'll be quite scrappy.
Yep.
We've had quite a few questions about Son coming back in. Obviously, you mentioned him for Richarlison. Do you think he'll come straight back into the lineup?
I think we need to wait for a press conference, but I think he probably will. I think needs must at that club at the moment. We've seen what Poch thinks about rest with Kane. He basically never rests him, and Son played all the games when he was available, didn't he? So Yeah, he probably has enough. He's probably back now or yesterday or something, and yeah, he'll probably have enough rest before Wednesday evening. I don't see why he couldn't play that game. I mean, he said he's tired, but it's it's 4 to 3 days between a game is normal / average rest time, and I don't see why he can't play. And they kind of need him. They need that creativity, they need that pace. And yeah, I think if you get on him now and he plays, you could be on for some decent points because everyone's going to want to get back on him because he's got great fixtures.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think we had, like I said, a number of questions, and it was FPL Rookie who asked directly whether we think he should be brought back in. My personal opinion is that he'll start on the bench and he'll come on early in the second half because I think Mora does a similar job to what Son's been doing recently. Mm-hmm. And if Poch can get away with just giving him just easing him back in slowly, he would have travelled all the way back and then readjusting to time.
But he wasn't actually in Asia. He was in like the UAE. It was played there, so it was only like 6 hours. So it's not that much. Carry on.
Well, I was just going to say, I just think the intensity of being in a competition like that is interesting. It's in the UAE, and the flight time is perhaps a bit less than what I thought. But even still, I think if Poch knows what his potential burnout was like after the World Cup, and then what tournament was it at the start of the season where they went away and won?
I thought it was another Asian Cup or something. I can't remember, but I don't know why it was so soon again. But I can't remember honestly. But
it got him out of doing military service, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it was last season. Now I don't think it was this season.
Oh gosh, I'm so confused with dates and times. Yeah. Where are we? Okay, but even still, I could see Mora playing his position, just off Llorente, and Mora perhaps playing 70-75 minutes, and Son just warming back up to it.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously I have that Richarlison spot, which is annoying me, and Son coming back seems like a great differential now, and I've got the funds to do it. So I don't know. It's something I'm not sure on, basically.
Yeah. It's a difficult one. He's been playing so well. His ownership has dropped to 4.7%.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you did get him back, huge differential. He's at 8.6 now. And in the 12 games before he left, he scored 95 points. So that was 7.9 points per average in that time, and only 3 blanks. So his form was huge before he left.
Yeah, my big question was like whether I just go straight Richarlison to Son or I bring in Abba. And Son, I did a bit of research on Son versus Abba in the last 10 game weeks. Mm-hmm. And Son scored 91 points. Obviously, he gets an extra point for a clean sheet and a goal scored. And Aubameyang had 69. So there's a huge difference in points per value and points per game. If he can come back in and maybe just get 30 minutes off the bench, he could probably still do well. And then you've got him primed to start the next game against whoever it is. I can't actually remember, but hold on, I'll have a look.
Okay, while you're having a look at that, I just mentioned...
Against Newcastle.
Okay, against Newcastle.
So, at home as well. So that's a great fixture. And if you've got him in there... He only actually missed one Premier League game, which was that Fulham game.
That's good, isn't it?
He just missed EFL and FA Cup and all that stuff. So, yeah, back sooner than expected, and I think we probably all need to think about getting on him, don't we?
Yeah, we do. As I had a look at the games where he came off the bench to see if he came off the bench, what we could expect from him. And I think there was maybe 2 games he came off the bench in those 12 games before he went, and he got an assist in one of them and blanked in the other.
Yeah,
I'd love him in my team, but I'd love to have a midfield sort of power 5 of Pogba, Salah, Hazard, Sane and Son, but it just means messing up my team way too much. So, more thoughts on that, because I think all those options are fantastic at the moment. How do you squeeze them all into your team? So it's very difficult.
Yeah, I have so many 50-50s here that it's really tough for me this week.
Well, should we move on then? Before we just move on to our preview, I was just going to say about Eriksen, because at the start of the season I had him in my team because he was Mr. Consistency, wasn't he, last? And he's had a really difficult season, what with injuries and being left out of the team, and he had that stomach issue. Mm-hmm. But he's now back up to 7 goal involvements in his last 7, so he's 9-4, so he's still really pricey. But he's just proven that in this time of need for Spurs, where Ali and, like I say, Kane are going to be out, I wouldn't be surprised if he's up there with Son as the main point scorer over these next.
He looked very average in that game before.
He did, yeah.
Who was it they played again?
Fulham,
maybe?
Fulham,
that's it, yeah.
He was really deep, wasn't he?
He was, and he got that 1 assist, but other than that, he did do basically nothing. So, yes, he's been consistent in getting that assist, but it was just 1 through ball. We didn't do anything else. No. And it's hard to justify the 9-odd million on him, honestly, when his son is now back and he's cheaper and way more explosive. But I think Son does miss Kane, because Kane was, putting him through balls through, dropping a bit deeper for Son, to run onto and pass the defenders. But maybe Llorente can add that, but I don't think he can. He doesn't have that vision in his game to put Son through, does he really? No. Maybe Eriksen can do that for him.
Maybe Eriksen. Well, we'll see. We'll keep an eye on the Christians and Eriksen man. Okay, shall we just wrap up by talking about our captaincy and transfer plans and pick out the clean sheets? I think you've already done a few, but do you want to talk about your captaincy? Is going to be an easy one, isn't it?
Salah.
Just those points per game in the last however many games it is. Did I say 8 games or 9 games? It's 11 points average per game. Crazy. Yeah, Salah for me as well. So your transfer plans, let's hear them. How has that? Oh, I suppose we should also talk about the double game week. But yes, how has the news of that affected your Richarlison thinking?
Well, it's against City, so I'm not sure. I could see him getting 2 and 2 in those 2 games. So, does he even play both? I'm not sure, because he got hooked on the last Premier League game at 60 minutes, so maybe he doesn't play both. Who's there? The other fixture is what? Who is the other fixture in 25 for them?
For Everton?
Yeah.
Good question.
Oh,
Let me just.
Okay.
Oh.
Away.
Watford away. Is it away at Watford? Yeah. Okay, and then City at home.
Not great games for them, are they? Really?
No.
He could do something against Watford, but I wouldn't bet on it. I'll keep Digne for sure. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a really tough one, especially in the double game week sounds really appetising, doesn't it? But like you say, it's a home game against City, and his form's been that rotten. Is that extra game really going to make a difference? So, who's Son playing in that game week? He's playing at home, isn't he? And he'll probably be his first start back. Son could probably
Newcastle.
There you go. Son could probably outscore him in that Newcastle game alone ahead of those 2 games. So, but if it was me, I'd probably keep Richarlison for this game rather than rush on to Son and then get Son back in for the next one. But I think it looks. I would have thought a lot of hits are going to be flying around next week now, because it's a short break, isn't it, between the end of 24 and 25? Because 24 will end on the Wednesday and 25 and the double will start on Saturday morning. So I'd expect a lot of movement in the market on those nights.
I clicked too far on the Everton fixture. It's actually Wolves, not Watford.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah, it was 26 was for Watford.
Okay.
But yeah, it's Everton at home to Wolves. So
okay. Okay.
Still difficult.
Yeah, it's still difficult.
Yeah, maybe even Richarlison upgrade to someone like Sane if I can manage it.
Yeah.
Those, Sane and Sterling, those 2 fixtures could be really good.
Yeah.
Including this weekend. Yeah.
Okay, so
maybe even a City defender as well.
City defender as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about this news, because we've only just found out, and it's something I have to plan about, really.
Yeah. Well, I think my transfer in my head for most of this week, and I've just been waiting for all the games to finish, has been Anderson out and to get Sterling in. So I was really pleased to see that Sterling was rested for the Burton game and the FA Cup game. But the more I've looked at it today, I just think that Sane is better value, and especially with Mendy not sure back, it seems like Sane is the better option. So I had, like Kieran mentioned earlier, I had a look at their last 10 games and compared them. So in the last 10 games, they've featured in, i.e. come off the bench or started. Sane's averaged 7.7 points per game, whereas Sterling's averaged down at 5.6 per game. And generally, the stats between them are very similar. So for that extra 1.5 million, I think it's sensible to go with Sane, because that gives me flexibility, and it sounds like I might need it for the upcoming double game week. And whether that's a second or even a third City player to add to that. But just to go more into the stats breakdown, I'll post actually the full content on our Twitter feed a bit later today. But in terms of touches in the box for the last 5 games between them, Sane's averaged 9.2 and Sterling's averaged just over 10. So even that's very similar. And shots in the box, Sane's averaged 1.4 over the last 5 games and Sterling's averaged 1.2. So it's really similar, and I can't see that extra I think it's 1.5, isn't it? Or is it 1.6?
Yep.
Sane's 1.97, Sterling's 11.3. So I just can't see what exactly Sterling's given extra at the moment for that 1.5 million, 1.6 million.
I mean, it's also a case of maybe rolling the transfer to bring them, say, both in on the 25 game, maybe.
Yeah.
For free. I know that's something I can consider, but I'd rather maybe have Sane if I'm going to do that now rather than next week. I think a few hits might be coming for most managers, maybe, with this new news.
I definitely would have thought so, because my instant reaction was I'd take out Hazard and Anderson for Sane and Sterling, but Hazard's got that great game against Huddersfield, so yeah, really, really, really tricky.
Pogba out.
Oh, I don't know if I can do that. I wouldn't lose much value in him, but maybe it's Danilo, Kieran. Maybe he's coming back.
Oh.
Danilo's going to have 3 games in 9 days. Is he going to play them all and get goals? Yes,
no.
Probably.
No.
Kieran, what do you mean? Definitely yes. Oh, all right. Okay. Well, that's my transfer plan. It's been blown into epic proportions by that news. But all right, let's just pick out your clean sheets then. You've already given me 2, Everton and Huddersfield. I'll let you have 2 more
United
picks.
was the other one I've got down. Yeah. That's all I got.
That's all you got? 3. Okay. Gosh. Well, I think Man City. I'm bigging up Danilo, haven't I? Blimey, you better play. I think Man City are going to get one, and I also think Liverpool obviously going to pick one up at home against Leicester.
Yeah.
I think that's probably as far as nailed on as I can see. I'd like to call Palace out as a differential clean sheet up against Southampton, because I think that's the sort of game they play quite tight against, and yeah, I could see a clean sheet happening there. But seeing as you've had 3, that would be my 3rd pick, And do you know what? Coincidentally, I've got a player from each of those teams, Kieran. Oh no, I haven't. Man City, Danilo, but maybe. All right, cool. Is there anything else you want to add?
No.
We've been quite thorough today, haven't we?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So I think that about wraps up our show. Thanks everyone for joining us. Obviously, with the midweek games, we will likely do a preview show either Thursday or Friday evening ahead of the Saturday game. So keep an eye on our Twitter page and we'll confirm all the details on that and whether we're going to do one. If you've got any community questions, feel free to tweet us or add them to the YouTube video below and we'll try and get back to as many of you as possible. If you haven't already listened to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, then the link is in the description of this video and you can check us out on there. But obviously you want the audio-visual experience, YouTube, where you're listening right now or watching, is the best place to do that. Cool. So I think until our next show, it's goodbye from me and have a good game week.
Yeah, cheers and good luck.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.